Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Marshfield School Committee meeting of Tuesday, August 27, 2024. This is Ms. Urson. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Bargan?
Here.
Ms. Stetson?
Here.
Mr. Greer?
Here.
Mrs. Brate?
Here.
Mr. Costello?
Here. Please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please join me for the Peace Builders Pledge. I am a peace builder. I have pledged to praise people, to give up the towns, to see wise people, to notice and speak up about hurt second thoughts, to right wrongs, to help others. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day. Under the open meeting law, I'm informing the public that this meeting is being videotaped by Marshfield Community Media. Anybody else is taking this meeting on audio or radio, please notify us of such at this time. Seeing none, I'd like to open the meeting and recognize that this is the first meeting for our new superintendent, Dr. Pat Sullivan, welcome to Marshfield, Michigan. I don't know if anybody else noticed, you haven't been in Marshfield since 2008. You still remember the Peace Builders Pledge?
So if people were really watching, I was a little shaky on a couple of them, but I did. I was pretty good. Thank you.
So we're very happy to have you in Marshfield. We're excited. And there's a lot going on at the start of the school year. So we're going to open up with our informational and turn it over to you, Dr. Sullivan.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm just going to move to the side a little bit so you can see the screen here and just put together a few slides. It's been an amazing summer for me. Yeah, thanks, Tom. I got to get used to all the technical things here. Thank you, appreciate that. It's been an amazing summer for me. You know, people have asked me, how's your summer been? Have you got some time off? And the answer is, first answer is, it's been amazing. Second answer is, I've had no time off. But it's, you know, when you're doing something you're passionate about and you love, and you're back home, everything just has felt great. And I've been so thankful, first of all, to work with such an amazing leadership team. Is so strong, has so many talents, and that extends into our extended leadership team, our building teams. And you know, I start off by I know there's a lot of teachers out there that have worked over the summer and have put in time in classes and preparing for. You know, everyone needs some time off, but having been a teacher for my whole life, I know you don't really stop preparing. So I want to thank the teachers, thank the ESPs, thank our custodians, our cafeteria workers, our bus drivers, and everyone, tutors, everybody who makes the schools work. We're setting up for what I think will be a wonderful start to 2024-25. Just a few things that have happened this summer of excitement. Mr. Miller, you'll have to tell me which year this was again, but this is our state champion, because was your daughter? 2021, our state champion girls cross country team. We're finally honored. And it was nice to say a lot of them came back. I think the youngest students on that team are now seniors. So that was a wonderful thing to have them recognized, and as Senator O'Connor at the State House. Sports are back in full swing. It's been nice to see them out on the fields, and we have so many students that are involved in that. That's inspiring. We've had a lot of great orientation activities, including our kindergarten play dates. I was able to attend 3 of them so far, and looking forward to a couple more tomorrow, or one more tomorrow anyway. But we had a play date on this Sunday for kindergarten, but Principal Bishop also had Principal Bishop's lemonade stand, which was nice. That was really well attended, and I was inspired by that space. I had forgotten that a gazebo had been donated. It fits so seamlessly within that school, and I know it's used for a lot of awards and ceremonies. It was just wonderful, and it was so lovely to meet all the parents that came to that. Likewise, today we had the Martinson play date, and these girls were really proud. They were, you know, obviously older students within that building, but we're making everything happen, and that's a big part about what we're going to be trying to push kids towards this coming year is leadership opportunities. And our custodians, there's just a couple of examples. We had a nice Governor Winslow one so far too, but our custodians have been absolutely amazing. Mr. Miller and I toured all the buildings last year, last year. That would be nice. We toured last week, and they're all ready to go. We have a few things we need to fix, but nothing that is insurmountable, and I was absolutely impressed by that. We had a cookout for all our summer workers, which was amazing, because they really do make things run during the year by the work they do in the summer. That extends to our facilities team. I know you're gonna meet them tonight, and we did a fantastic job. A couple of other things. We had a lovely leadership retreat in two places, actually. We had one, first day was at the Cedar Hill Retreat Center in Duxbury, and that was for our still about 20-something person leadership team. We were able to formulate goals, formulate some of our targets for the year, talk about a bunch of procedures that we wanted to tighten up. And then that extended into the second day, which was here, where we invited the department heads and the department chairs and department coordinators from the middle school, the department heads from the high school, math coaches. We had representatives of the MEA there, and I think it was a very productive and open discussion to really get us together as a team. So very exciting. And this is previews of things to come. Here are some of the students that will be presenting with me on the 3rd of September when we have our convocation. They're rock stars, and they're going to do amazing. So they'll be up on stage with you for a little bit. I had to remind them they weren't going to be there for the whole time. But I'll pull them up, and we're going to be talking about amongst other things, student voice. The theme for the year is going to be through the eyes of the student. And this was chosen really because what we all have in common is the students are the most important people in the equation. And we're going to work together to make sure we see things through their eyes and really promote deep student engagement and student voice in the teaching, learning, and leading throughout the district. So I stole this picture off of the website, so I know it's okay to have, but I loved it just because of the eyes, and they're so happy. How could you not love it, right? In terms of the leadership vision, one of the things we stressed and talked about over the summer was this triangle of culture, communication, and collaboration, and how all of those three, really this is the plate, those three areas really are driven, really they drive the teaching and learning, and it's all about focusing on the student. And the communication and culture, you really can't have anything without a clear focus on expectations, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to do, is make sure we're all focused on what the expectations are for the coming year, of course using the strategic plan, but that goes for classrooms as well. One of the best things our teachers and staff can do for the kids in making them feel connected is to be clear with their expectations. And that's something that we'll dive into deeply. We're going to focus deeply on collective teacher efficacy, the work of John Hattie out of New Zealand, who did a lot of meta-analyses on what initiatives in education make the highest effect size. In other words, have the highest effect on student achievement academically and socially, emotionally. And after all his research, what he came up with was the highest effect size is by collective teacher efficacy. So all those days when we talk about working together is important for the kids, well, we know it is actually the most important thing statistically for student achievement. If you have teams that are working well together at every level, those kids will achieve and they will be happier. And then, of course, all of this is shrouded in transparency and trust. Unless, I'm transparent and we're all transparent with our communications, what we believe in and what we're going through, and that we don't always have all the right answers, we're not going to develop trust. And trust is really hard to gain and very easy to lose. So I'm very aware of that. This is not a very long slideshow, but another thing that we stressed is the idea of an adaptive change. Everything that we'll do over the coming years will be an adaptive change. An adaptive change is a change that happens when a group of people get together, get their hands dirty, and keep reiterating things until they work. That's what education is. It's not a technical change like a plumber coming to fix your sink, where he knows how to fix your sink, or she knows how to fix the sink, or they know how to fix the sink, and then there it is, it's fixed. This is a adaptive change that means a bunch of people working together to change. Of course, we're focusing on our strategic plan this year, And I love the strategic plan because it really guides our future work. And it's something that if the school committee decided to have goals, it would obviously set your goals. It sets my goals through you. And then it sets all of our school improvement plans. And of course, it has a huge impact on administrator and teacher evaluation because it's referenced in all of our goals and all of our work. So the strategic plan is really our guiding plan, and it's a dynamic plan. And we spent some time this summer looking at it and really looking at it as a dynamic plan and not something that we can absolutely say, you start here and in 5 years you end there. We know that isn't accurate. You need to pick up and figure out what you need to move forward with and what you need a little more data regarding. And we're also using this quite a bit, and we're going to be using this specifically to try to create a data structure in Marshfield Public Schools, meaning that our data points, first of all, we have to make sure this is a district belief and not just a high school belief. And it's a wonderful document. There really was, some good work was done at the high school. I just don't know yet how much it pervades throughout the district. But the idea would be that in 12th grade, you're going to have students that are active and effective servers of the community and contributing to society. They're reading actively and critically for a variety of purposes. They can write effectively. They can communicate clearly in speech. They think critically and use multiple strategies to problem solve. They collaborate effectively in diverse groupings, and we use multiple strategies to create and innovate. And that we would have data points going from pre-K all the way up to 12th grade that measure how students are doing in these areas. Because if you have a vision for the graduate, you need to make sure you're measuring it. So we're going to try to articulate our data so that it hits these points. And then really, this is where we're going to be living this year. It's a lot, but if you think about it, this is really where we should be living. The major focus of the year is going to be on student voice and engagement in the teaching, learning, and leading, but we're also going to focus on family and community engagement, and that family and community engagement goes a lot deeper than just communicating. Joyce Epstein has 6 dimensions of family and community engagement, and those include parenting, and what that means is we're all parents, or a lot of us are parents, and if we're not parents, we're working with your children. They're our children too, in terms of being students. And there's resources that we need to share and work we need to do with each other to make sure the supports are in place. There's volunteering. What does volunteering look like in the schools? There's decision-making. What kind of decision-making power do our families have within our schools? And there's another one too. Oh, there's work at home. So when we teach something in the classrooms, how are our families equipped to help with that work at home? And then there's communicating. And they really make the 6 dimensions of family and community engagement. The last one being engaging with the community. That's the 6th one. Who are our community partners? And we're really going to be looking at that strongly. I already talked a bit about data-driven decisions. All of our decisions should have some data with them, whether it's qualitative or quantitative, but that data structure is important. This is a big bucket for us this year, student and staff equity, belonging, and wellness, and really that has to do with culturally responsive teaching practices, which means that we just need to make sure that everybody's included, that everyone has a voice, and that we also are exposing students to the world outside of them. Also, we have wellness in there and social emotional learning. So those are 3 teams that we're going to bring together under one umbrella and move forward, not just as a school district, but as families too. So we're going to bring in families into that. We're going to bring in students into that, and we're really going to approach this as a full school community as opposed to just staff. Rigorous curriculum development. We have a lot of new curriculum, including a major goal of Dr. Martin's working with our new EL curriculum. It's a giant undertaking, and it will be really effective for our students. Financial stability, and that obviously Mr. Miller is working with that, but that ties right into efficient and effective protocols, procedures, and systems, making sure, including safety. We've already met several times with the police and fire. We just had a meeting with them today to go over first aid procedures and what we've been doing. We had a giant meeting here to carve out protocol work we're going to be doing through the year. And I had met earlier with the school resource officers as well, so, and fire is involved too. So we've met 3 times, and we hope to meet more moving forward. And again, that whole idea of collective teacher advocacy. This is the student voice I talked about. This is in the classroom, and it's also right up to the 2 major ones, which, in some pockets we do very well. The We Are Marshfield is a great example of activism. And then that leadership idea. So really pushing kids to do that as we go. And these are just some questions that our staff is going to be tied into, making sure we elevate and broaden perspectives. These are things we're going to be talking about with our teachers. Don't really even need to get into this, but this is our student engagement, and that's it. So I don't want to get into that too much, but on the first day we will get into it more and we'll dive into it. But I wanted to give the committee a good idea of where we were and how we're building going forward. So it's been a really exciting summer. There's a lot more to do in the next few days, but we're in a really good spot. So look forward to seeing you on the 3rd too.
Great. Awesome. Thank you very much, Dr. Sullivan. First update.
Yeah, so they're not always going to be that long. That was just, I had a lot to talk about this today.
Great. Thank you. Dr. Martin.
Okay, so a lot going on this summer, as Dr. Sullivan had said. So we did have some summer learning opportunities, especially at elementary and middle school. So elementary had a math and a literacy challenge. That has wrapped up. Elementary libraries were open 1 day a week. We started that, I think, in 2021. And that is still going strong. Furnace Brook had a math challenge, some summer reading, a gold book club happening. So a lot of things in all of our buildings. I know Mrs. Scalaro will talk about some other things that have been happening with our students. Teacher-wise, elementary, our literacy lab teachers have been meeting with our coaches, and they've also been getting some support from our TLA partner. So they're working on implementation plans for the new Expedition Learning, we call it EL curriculum, in the elementary classrooms. Those lab teachers will serve as our model classrooms, and they will kind of partner with peers. They will help us with professional development. They will kind of be a sounding board for their colleagues throughout the school year. So they'll try and be like one step ahead of implementing the new program. So we're looking forward to hitting the ground running with that. We've had a lot of PD planning with Amy McAlpine, looking at Wednesday afternoons, our full day in November, working with our coaches, with Ms. Scalaro, with Colleen Gadels, Kate Malu, all of the leaders. So we've been working nonstop on that. We have a pretty good outline. Some things still are being worked on, but we have a pretty good idea of what our PD calendar will look like in the fall. And then today started the new Educator Academy. So day 1 of 3 days of new staff. There are between 15 and 20, depending on the day. Today they had an overview of the district. They explored their technology, Canvas, Aspen, all of that, did some social emotional learning work. Then they had their magical mystery tour with Billy Battis as the tour guide, which is always the highlight of the 3 days. And a big shout out to Dairy Queen again for hosting our secret last location every year. Tomorrow there will be small groups going on based on position, because not all of the new hires are classroom teachers, so it just depends. And then Ms. Scalaro will be giving an overview on special education. Kate Malu will do something on English language learner education. Thursday we'll have our mentor time, our celebration lunch, and then time at building. So it's a really busy week that I think Amy McAlpine and I need roller skates this week, but we are having a blast with our new hires. They're a great group. So that's about it for me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mark. Our Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, Mrs. Scalaro.
I have 2 updates. One, I'm just going to give you an overview of our extended school year program for this year. And secondly, I'll update you on some professional development that took place over the summer around the new IEP. So in your folder, there are just some slides that Melissa Morrison had put together, just some pictures that you can click through at your leisure. I'll just give you a update here. So we had an extended school year program from July 8th to August 8th. The ESY is designed to prevent regression, academic regression, and help students maintain skills and routines over the summer. And all services for ESY are provided per students' individualized education plans. So the services that we provide through ESY, we have a tutorial program for reading, writing, math, and multisensory reading. There's a full-day program, which is like a combination of services to support academic, social skills, and behavioral support. And there's also, students can access their related services as determined by their IEP teams during the year to make sure that skills don't regress over the summer. So in total, we had 58 students participate in our tutorial programs, pre-K to grade 12, and 126 students participated in our full-day programs, preschool through age 22. So when you have a chance and you click through the slides, you'll see you'll gain a sense of some of the fun activities that students participated in during ESY. They had a variety of academic and social emotional activities. They enjoyed themed weeks around heroes and superheroes, animals, pets, nature, camping, ocean week, games and sports. During Hero Week, the Marshfield Police Department and the Marshfield Fire Department came with their trucks and their cars. And that was awesome. Twice during the summer to help beat the heat, and as a special treat, students took a field trip to Seth Ventris for a movie day.
Nice.
For the air conditioning and the entertainment. So it was really, it's a quick program, but they do a great job of combining academics with fun. I am going to take a minute to just read through slide 3 of the slide presentation, because slide 3 lists the incredible people across the district who go above and beyond so that our students who qualify for extended school year do enjoy a safe and high quality experience. So just in general, just pull that up. So it's just a huge thank you to the planning and organization that goes into making ESY happen, because the school year ends and everyone goes home for summer vacation and these people jump into action. So Jen Landolfi, our out-of-district coordinator, Lisa McKinnon, our special ed bookkeeper, Cindy Whipple, my administrative assistant in student services. They do so much to organize and get the materials ready. All of our special ed leadership across the district, so Dr. Coots at Early Childhood, Melissa Morrison from Furnace Brook, Erin Wiggin at the high school, Travis Dupuis from Post, and all our elementary team chairs, Christine Meehan, Susan Ryan, Denise Giandomenico, and Megan Conan. They put together all of the information that needs to be in place in order for ESY to happen. Our on-site supervision and organization, Melissa Morrison is at the helm of that. But this year, Courtney Coots was right there with her every step of the way, as well as Frida Galligan, who's the administration at the high school during the year and then steps in to do ESY during the summer. So our daily lessons and activities, just huge shout out to the teachers, the tutors, the related service providers, the support staff, the student volunteers who come forward every year to teach in this program. They are dedicated and they make a huge difference. So many people to thank. The ESY facilities, so the building administrators, the front office staff members, the custodial staff members at South River, Furnace Brook, and the high school, because some buildings are able to just get going with all their summer tasks. We come flooding in with our 126 students and fun-filled days every day. So they are just amazing at all levels. Transportation, Tricia Murphy, our business operations coordinator, and all our van drivers who, again, just jump right into it. So, and last but not least, our wonderful students and families who participate and make it happen. So thank you for indulging me. I think it's really important to go through and make sure that people are acknowledged for all that hard work. So the other thing I wanted to update you on briefly is some professional development regarding the new IEP that occurred over the summer. So as you know, we will have a new IEP this year across the state. Training for staff occurred last winter and spring. Over the summer, we hosted 5 summer work sessions, which we paid for through a grant through DESE. Over 66 special education teachers and related service providers participated in the sessions, and 22 were able to participate in more than one session. So in general, this was just a tremendous opportunity for us to get ahead of the transition to the new IEP. The work with the new IEP will continue into the fall and throughout the year, and we will have more training for both staff and families as we keep going. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Mr. Miller.
There's obviously a lot going on, but I'll be brief. 3 quick points. Start with budget. We're still working on closing out fiscal '24. Right now, we're looking at about a $200,000 circuit breaker carryover, which is not ideal. Typically, we roll over a great deal more. We try to roll over all our circuit breaker if possible, which is in the $1.7 million, $1.8 million approximately. So we're starting out FY25 in a little bit of a hole. We are close to solving the 25 deficit. We didn't fill 11 FTE of professional staff and about 6 FTE of ESP and tutors. So that got us partially there. There's still about a $350,000 differential, and rolling the dice a little bit, but the state budget obviously went up about $74 per pupil, so we're going to be making that argument, for lack of a better term, to the town, hopefully to receive some additional funding at December's special town meeting. So we'll be looking to close that gap there. Also on budget front, South Shore Regional Vocational, we had 3 students attending last year. We have 33 attending this year. So it's obviously been a great benefit for our students. We have 20 freshmen, and then 10 sophomores also went. So great for our students, exactly what we wanted to happen when we joined. It does create a little bit of a financial difficulty for fiscal '25, and be working with the budget subcommittee on working with the town to notice that additional expenditure is not solely an educational expenditure, but it's a full town expenditure. So hopefully that will be shared going forward. The 33 students doesn't hit until next fiscal year, so 33 times about 25,000 per student. So, and we'll probably have more going forward. So, but we'll work through that. But budget-wise, we're okay, and there's more to come on that front. Transportation. Expect the bus stop list to go out tomorrow. Been working with Cheyenne from Topman on that. We have pretty much everything all set with the buildings and printing passes for students. They'll get them on their first day. Once again, a little bit difficulty in getting parent response, but hopefully over the years it'll start to pick up. We've had a lot of work on that front in the last week or two. So you can remind people as much as possible, but still have some latecomers. The buses are going to be very efficient. They're going to be 60, around 60 average at the elementary level, and 50 to 55 average at the secondary level. Much more than what we've had in the past. So it's going to be a little bit longer, but that's what we set out to do. So we're looking okay on that front as well. So ready to go for next Wednesday. And then lastly, playgrounds. A lot of development on that front that started way back in March, meeting with the DPW and recreation and town administration. Developed a plan to get our playgrounds up to par on the safety front. a lot of maintenance involved. As everybody's aware, several of our our playgrounds were shut down, signs put up. Been working with the DPW on that front. We have several of them back up and running. A couple more to get done in the next few days, but we're assured that that's going to happen. Some equipment will be taken out. We're going to be putting together a package for December town meeting to replace any equipment that's been taken out as well. So in that whole front, we're good there. And then there's been a little bit on the accessibility front. All the playgrounds that were put in, we had 5 new playgrounds that the elementaries put in the last 7 or 8 years. When they were all put in, the PTOs worked with their vendors, with the DPW on making all our playgrounds accessible. We just recently found out that the wood chips are no longer accessible and mats are needed. So we're working on getting our mats and our accessibility up to par across all our playgrounds as well. So we have some work on that front. We need to work with a certified playground inspector to have that signed off on.
Yeah, I have a question. So why are we taking equipment out?
Sorry?
Why are we?
That's still.
It's not mine. It's usually mine.
That's a first for me. I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's the fire alarm.
Yeah.
I'm scared. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and blame Mr. Greer for that.
I'll take the blame.
I'm blaming the new guy.
It's usually me.
What is it?
No, it
Yeah, I shut this off
Touch it,
after
touch
the
it.
noise.
Other
So.
than being a really bad, terrible
yeah.
noise.
Not it. All right.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused on the presentation, so I just have a couple questions, right? So the schools only use the playground 17% of the time, or have access 17% of the time, so it really lies with the DPW. So what is our involvement, and why are we taking equipment out?
So the DPW and recreation they have taken over. It's always been a DPW.
Yeah, Article 3.
By charter.
Yeah.
So we're working together with them on getting everything up.
So we're just a consulting role, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nothing's coming out of our budget okay. Gotcha. Never mind. Karen?
But I think one thing I noticed right away is there was an excellent collaboration this summer regarding. the
Yes.
programs. Like, I can't speak to what it was in the past, and from what I understand, things weren't moving quite as fast as they were.
Yeah, we're definitely in a good spot. Sean Patterson from the DPW has been great. He's already met with him a couple times at playgrounds, and he wants to do what
Oh, fair
exactly
enough.
what
Yeah, we have a great relationship with the DPW and the other boards, right? I was just trying to calibrate, that's all.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Tom.
Ms. Brady.
Sure. So you mentioned that the wood chips are no longer considered, can you elaborate on that?
So
They're not considered acceptable?
correct. So when we looked at the Dana Webster playground, Childscapes was the company that put it in. So I reached out to Childscapes, and they quoted the law that had just changed recently within the last year or so.
In Massachusetts? law?
Correct.
So they put it in as ADA accessible. and
Yeah.
the Army, or at least
Yeah.
that one in Marshfield.
Yeah.
So is that the reason they were closed? Is that the reason for
No,
closure?
the reason for the closures was just safety. There were a bunch of different things, like chains on the swings. There were some exposed bolts. All those reports.
For 5 brand new playgrounds.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Do we have any, is there a grace period for us before we are under the government fixed these, like fixed the playgrounds?
I've been playing phone tag with the owner of the local Childscapes and trying to get exactly what we need to do to have this signed off on. Yeah. 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 Sure.
Is there a way we can, really nervous. Is there a way we can ask our playground providers that, like, when there is a change in the law to notify the people that have the playground?
That's what we need to do. Obviously that was missed.
Okay.
So we've taken a great step in meeting with the DPW and rec and developing a budget, having annual inspections. ADA was not part of that first annual inspection, so we definitely need to add that in.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right.
Okay.
That's something we need to have updated. for
Right.
us.
Thank you.
The good news is all these playgrounds are now in better shape
Yeah.
than they were before the start of the summer.
Yeah.
So we all have safer playgrounds than we had in the beginning of the summer. And now we're just working on some accessibility issues that are rather new, but we're feverishly working with
Started.
While we're waiting for them to be completely accessible, are there alternatives provided during recess for kids that aren't able to access the equipment that the mall is surrounding?
this.
Well, we're gonna have the Daniel Webster playground does have mats. We're trying to find out how much further we need to go on that. So that's
Other equipment brought out to use on the blacktops or to have, you know.
yeah. I mean, I can't speak for Daniel Webster, but I believe
No, I
that's
mean, our goal is to have
yeah,
it
yeah.
fully ADA accessible.
Yeah, we want
In the start of school.
Yeah.
And if that one isn't, there's alternative
That's
places.
the only one that's not accessible.
No, we don't know that actually. It's something we have to look at across the board.
yeah. There's
We're in the process of that as well, and maybe some other accessibility issues.
And that's not like it's going to take a little time. You're going to have
No.
Right.
potential.
So are there other things that can be brought out from gym classes or something that can be used in different areas if they're not able to access the playground right now? Similar to what we would do if they were so close, right?
Yeah. Remember, the accessibility hasn't changed at all. It's still the same accessibility we had in the spring.
Right.
It's just a matter of knowing now that accessibility isn't the ADA requirement because of the regulations. So we'll absolutely roll out all this. Well, we're in a much better spot now than we were last spring. When the conditions of playgrounds were worse, the collaboration was less, and we didn't have any pathway to ADA compliance at all. So, yeah, your point's a good one, and that's a plan B for us, just as it was during S5, when we figured out a way to have, playgrounds closed by the town, and we had a way to, to make sure those kids got some exercise outside. We'll absolutely do that.
Just one quick question. So according to the state of Massachusetts, if one person with disabilities cannot access, then nobody can use it? That's what I'm inferring from what's being said.
I don't think that's accurate, but that's again, what we have to determine. It wasn't, the town, again, playgrounds under the DPW did not close the playgrounds based on ADA compliance. They closed it based on some safety items that they found. We're working to make sure that our playgrounds are ADA compliant. I don't know that it means we have to shut down a playground if it isn't. And I honestly don't know that. That's something we're in the process of working out and trying to keep it open as you can, but also making it accessible.
Gotcha, you're trying to keep them open.
Definitely.
Oh, I misinterpreted that. I thought they were closed until further notice.
No one's told
Okay.
us to close those playgrounds.
All right, never mind.
We're just making sure that they meet the ADA compliance, which has been brought to our attention. The flooring at the Webster anyway doesn't meet it, and that's what we're working to fix. Got it. And one word about we do have a new traffic pattern for our work that has been communicated over the pattern. We're going to have detailed officers on the first weekend anyway, that are going to help make sure that flows. And again, it needs to flow at its own at one point, and if it doesn't, we'll make adjustments. But people at home should just assured that we've also done that with police and fire several times on that too. When we do a traffic pattern plan that's been communicated, we feel good about it. We'll have to work out some kinks, but we have our safety valve, police will be very helpful.
Yep. Now I have another question.
Yes.
So if we're having detailed officers, does that come out of our budget, or is the police picking up the tab? And if it's out of ours, is it sustainable throughout the school year if needed?
It's not sustainable, right now it's not sustainable throughout the school year. In terms of coming out of our tab, I think.
It does, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say yes, but.
We do, the details at any of our athletic events, when they're needed, any events, graduation, that does come out of our budget. But this is not going to be a permanent, this is
No,
more
it's
of a kind of a safety enhancement for the first few days of school.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just a safety valve for, actually, it's just 3 days right now, and we need it additionally. But we just want to make sure that everything it works. So we have a plan, and we have a plan that involves buses waiting at a certain time, and moving at a certain time. We have staffing in place, our staff, to make sure students are safely run in the first book. For example, in the high school, those two schools are in impact during that time period. We have a pattern for both pickup and drop off that's been communicated, but we may have to make adjustments, and people need to know that we're going to do that. We're going to work with staff, we're going to make sure everything's copacetic to everyone. But while we're doing that, we're making sure we have police details, because we don't want to put anyone at any risk as we figure out some of these details, which we quite frankly can't experience until we experience.
Yeah.
So that's
And as always, the first week and a half of school is always, it's always difficult. So patience.
We'll get through it.
We have staff with that crosswalk at Ferguson and Forest.
Ferguson Forest.
Not at the moment, but working on it.
But that's a-
We need to get, if you know anybody who wants to cross there, we would certainly put
Are we
something
looking
there.
at crosswalks in other areas?
Yes, we have, well, we have two people crossing at the complex.
Yes.
We have 4 crossing guards at Daniel Webster, and we've always had 3 crossing guards at Governor Winslow, so we're in a good spot there. Forest and Furnace, we're working on that too as well. Right now, the plan isn't right now because we don't have anybody, but
Part of the reason that we moved the drop off and pick up first to the other side, obviously it's the same time now, so we want to alleviate that any log jams that happen on ramps red. So we're trying to move it, so hopefully it's less traffic there than it's actually been in the past, because you're not going to have, but it will at least be the same.
Yeah.
On that side. The other side's new, and that's what we're sort of focused on right now.
detailing all the crossing guard situation is on my list for tomorrow. So not completely up to speed there, but we're in a good spot.
What would the hours be for that?
So Forest Furnace would only be needed 7:30 to about 8, a little after 8, 8:05.
And are we in need of any over in Webster?
No, we're good right there. We're good there now.
I know there are more
Yeah.
walkers.
Yeah.
I'll use the opportunity of bringing it up just to say once again, which we've been saying for a long time, great, is that intersection is horrible.
Yeah.
It definitely needs traffic light or some sort of.
We want some of the doctor's office there?
Yeah.
Well, that's what one of our
Recurring
goals would be.
theme.
Oh, if they don't get you for the first 3 days?
For the first 3 days.
That's right.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
In the long term, I think we should talk about this board's advocacy for working with the state to hopefully get the process started, get a light in that intersection. And just circling back one more time before we move on to the playgrounds, obviously, accessibility is an important issue for all of us. I know this to you as well. There's a lot of that local impact now Wednesday, East and Webster. You can keep everybody updated
Yes.
information update once you have someone.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, because we are getting questions on it, and we certainly all, I know I don't speak for everybody, but I know it's proven that accessibility, equal access is important for all of us. So, thank you. Any subcommittee reports at this time? Okay, seeing none, now's the time of the meeting for public participation. If any member of the public wishes to address the committee, now's your time to come forward to do so. Don't believe I see any members of the public in the audience. Seeing none, I will move on to our MEA update. I'll recognize the president of the Marshfield Education Association, Mr. Raymond.
Mr. Costello, members of the Marshfield School Committee, I hope you're all well and that you enjoyed your summer. As always, thank you for allowing time for the MEA on today's agenda. Before the year begins, and if everything goes well, my time with you will be almost exclusively spent bragging about all the good that the educators in Marshfield give to our students, but I wanted to take a few minutes to formally welcome Dr. Sullivan back to Marshfield and foreground for you some of what I hope that we can together accomplish for the students and staff of Marshfield this year. First, I extend an official and earnest welcome back to Dr. Sullivan as he begins his time as the educational leader of our district. I have been encouraged by Dr. Sullivan's eagerness to work collaboratively with the association, seeing our respective bodies not as essentially oppositional, but in partnership. We are stakeholders bound by a common devotion to everything that is good for the students of Marshfield and supportive of the hundreds of educators who are committed to their success and happiness. I look forward to working with Dr. Sullivan, district and building administration, and with the committee to accomplish all that our students so richly deserve and that their teachers need to provide it. Last year, we negotiated a fair and competitive contract for our tutor unit without incident or injury. We worked with Superintendent Granatino and Mr. Miller to ensure elementary and secondary music teachers were compensated for their time supervising students at festival events across the state. We worked with Dr. Martin on curriculum and professional development and teamed with leaders across the district in all 8 buildings to support staff so they can better serve students. We did it collaboratively, assuming and embodying good intentions, looking to maximize the good when the perfect proves elusive. More often than not, good leadership is boring. It's made of myriad crises averted. It's made of conflicts anticipated and resolved proactively. It looks like jobs quietly saved and positions maintained through responsible financial management and basic human decency. Good on you all. Long may it remain so at Marshfield. Good leadership's achievements are public and far-reaching. Its shortcomings are short-lived and improved upon reflection. If we're in the Patriot Ledger, something's gone wrong. Either the committee, the association, or both have lost sight of what really matters or failed to see the path towards what is right and taken that which is easier self-serving. This collaborative spirit is and will continue to be mutually advantageous and always centered on the lives of children. This year, we will negotiate fair and competitive contracts for our clerical and educational support personnel units. I have every confidence those talks will be amicable, collaborative, and mutually devoted to seeing the inextricable link between being fair to all educators and embodying what is best for kids. There is more we wish to accomplish for the good of our entire community, but I will curb my enthusiasm there for this evening. Thank you again for all that you do for the students and staff of Marshfield. Welcome back again, Dr. Sullivan. Let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to committee's consent minutes to the end of the meeting. And we're going to take some time to folks. Before we begin the regularly scheduled meeting items, I just very, very quickly want to congratulate Mr. Greer once again on a very successful run of the Marshfield Fair, which I know you're very involved with. So congratulations, Mr. Greer. I went a couple times and I saw you there both times, and I know you were there for most of, if not all of the week. So congrats on a very successful year for the Marshfield Fair and you and everybody else involved. We're going to take the MHS music trip first. We'll invite forward Mr. Kaminsky. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Sullivan, if there's anything you'd like to add before Mr. Kaminsky.
Not at all, just to thank Mr. Raymond and thank you, Mr. Kaminsky, for being here and all the work you do. Your work don't mind either, so thanks for being here.
Well, first of all, administrators, members of the school committee, thank you also for your time. I appreciate it. So I've been here before. I was here 2 years ago for a California trip. We do a New York, we have over about 20 years done a New York trip every 4 years and a California trip every 4 years and 2 years offset. So this is traditionally a New York trip year for the Marshfield High School Music Department. So I sort of put a lot of things in the folder for you to look at, but to boil it down, we're looking to travel on Thursday, April 10th, 2025, through Saturday, April 12th, 2025. You know, I'm not going to assume that you remember everything that we do, but I do want to sort of highlight differences more than sort of run down the trip, because you have everything that you can sort of look at. But, you know, the long and short of the trip is that we are hoping to go down on that Thursday, spend a day at the park, and then Six Flags, that is, and then do workshops. We want to work with a group called Broadway Imagined, which we think will be extremely engaging. I don't want to overuse the word. I know that's your word, Pat, but we think the kids are going to love it, to be honest with you. So we switched to doing a workshop model when we went to California 2 years ago, rather than just a straight-out performance, and it was a smashing success with the kids and honestly with us, the staff as well. So typically we have done like an adjudicated festival at this, but we're looking to do this Broadway Imagined, and I think it'll suit all of us quite a bit better. So we're really excited about that. We are, unlike the last time we went to New York was actually 8 years ago. Unfortunately, 2021 would have been a New York trip year, and we just never were able to sort of squeeze anything in when things could go. So I don't want to revisit that any more than we need to, right? So a lot has changed in 8 years. So 8 years ago, I'm sure you all know Nancy Bowers and Michael Moresco. They were our trip coordinators on the Marshfield Friends of Music board and said, hey, we can do this ourselves, and we did. I don't have anybody like that. I'm not putting down our current board. We've actually just sort of transitioned a lot of people in, so a lot of them are not very experienced with that. And quite frankly, they're just not as crazy as Nancy and Michael. So, I think for a lot of reasons, and not only that, but just how the world has changed over the past 8 years. Just like 2 years ago, we're going to work with a travel agent. This year, we've chosen to work with Bob Rogers Travel, which is a nationally known company, and several of our friends in neighboring districts do their trips through Bob Rogers as well. We chose them, we reached out to several different companies. We found them they most readily came up with an engaging trip for our kids to do that we felt suited our needs as both a department and just, we know our kids in Marshfield pretty well. So it sort of came together pretty well. So I would just say that the biggest, honestly, difference besides going from 4 days to 3, which is, again, this New York trip has usually been 4 days, and those things that I just highlighted, just the cost of the trip is very different looking than you would have seen 8 years ago. We literally charged $675 per student 8 years ago. And you see here, I would say that if you want to do this in one reading, that's fine. If you want to do it in a second reading, that's okay, because I'm not going to give you a final price. And the reason is that our fairly new board hasn't quite settled on how much money they're going to subsidize the trip by. All right. So I always joke that when we do these trips, you never really know how everything works out until after you've come back. You don't know how many kids are going to go until after you've come back, and so on and so forth. The package price from Bob Rogers as things stand now is $12.53 per student, and they have outlined what that all includes and what it doesn't include and whatnot. So we've gotten a worst case scenario from them on what equipment rentals would be. That's one of the biggest items that isn't included in the package. They have said that the worst that they've ever seen with a group of our size is about $3,000. So I can say to you that I was supposed to be, on the July meeting, and I really would have been done here but I met with the Marshfield Friends of Music board on August 6th. And they have earmarked, they have budgeted right now $14,000 for straight-out student assistance for students who need help with the trip, and 15 for that, excuse me, and then $14,000 as of right now in straight out subsidy for the trip. Yeah, your eyes are bugging out, but again, thank you, Mr. Greer, for all your work with the Marshfield Fair, and thank you for dialing in the nice weather this week, because I have no idea, because it just ended, but the Marshfield Friends of Music probably grossed its highest amount ever, because the last time we had weather this good, we were charging $5 a spot. But I'm sorry? It was packed all week. It not only was packed all week, it rained the day we set up, and it rained like Friday morning when it started, and it didn't rain again until last night, right? So it was packed. So I anticipate the highest gross we've ever had, and whatnot. So they may change some things, but just doing some quick math before I headed over here. With that package price of $1,253, if they kept it at $14,000 in just straight subsidies, and that would be sort of paying the bill for this meal and that meal and this rental and that sort of thing. That's why it's not, I don't have a final price for you. It would probably knock things down about $130 a kid, something like that. And with the way things are set up, the chaperone price would probably be about $120 less than that. So we're talking probably $1,130 and $1,020 or something like that. Now, again, I will get my plan as a coordinator of music is to get together with the Marshfield Friends of Music just next Tuesday and say, okay, this is what we know about the fair. This is what we know about the trip. I have more information from our rep at Bob Rogers. What do we want to do? And again, you still don't know how it works out because again, you never know how many kids are going to go on the trip. But this is, the numbers that I just said to you are based on about 110 kids going on the trip, which is consistent with what we've had the past couple of trips relative to the size of what the department's going to be this year. So I can't say what'll happen, but again, 8 years is a long time, but also just the economics of how these trips are run. Bus costs are quite a bit higher than they were before the pandemic. Coach bus stuff is just, so, to give you an example, my friend Megan Dinsmore always used to do a day trip down to New York City to go to a museum. She didn't do it this past year. Why? Because they used to be able to do it for under $100 a head, and it was coming in at like $250 a head, and she didn't do anything differently, you know what I mean? And so that's, but how do we do a trip to New York? Well, we have to do it with coach buses, you know what I mean? So we really do have to sort of do it that way. So I don't know if that price will mean that we'll have a lower percentage of our population going on the trip, or whether things will stay the same and people bite the bullet. I'm not really sure. I do know that 2 years ago was also after the pandemic, and we still had to do, we obviously didn't take a bus to California, but we had to bus around California. We ended up charging $21.50 per student, and the numbers didn't go down. So, I wish I had better news, like Tom wishes he had better news for you in his report. I wish I had better news for you in terms of the overall price, but I do know that after talking to a couple of companies that we got a good, fair price from Bob Rogers, because they're not the only ones that we got a quote from before I did that. So with that, I'm wondering if you guys have any questions for me based on what I said and what I've provided with you.
Yeah.
Any questions, comments?
Yep.
Mr. Greer, you can start.
Yeah, so, you gave numbers for, lack of a better term, for the free and reduced, right, students. My concern is, reading through here, it says limited, right?
It says what? I'm sorry?
It says that the applications for assistance will be offered on a limited basis, right? So I want to make sure that all of the students that want to go that are eligible for assistance are accommodated. Right, I'm ready to vote on this now. I don't see why,
I will tell you that over the past couple of trips, we've seen an increasing number of requests for assistance. So when I first started working here 15 years ago, my second year was a California year, and honestly, to be perfectly frank, the way it was handled was if somebody sidled up and said, I really need some, then we'd go and we'd see what we had set aside, and we didn't have nearly as much set aside. $15,000 is a lot of money. So I will tell you that when we went to California, only one family was turned away, and it was because they didn't have any demonstrated financial need. We gave literally $15,000 in direct assistance to, I'm going to say 13 students. And like I said, so in that would be, we got 14 applications and 13 kids got scholarships to go on the trip. On a trip that's almost half the price, and they're starting with an assistance budget of the same, I don't anticipate not being able to help anybody. I don't think we're going to be fully funding the trip for many students, but I think we'll be able to significantly knock down the cost for students with demonstrated financial need.
And that's what I'm referring to. Yeah. So if they can demonstrate the financial need, I don't want to see them.
Yeah, like I said, it honestly was very informal, and then we've made an application that parents and I would review. I would redact names and stuff like that, so that we were just sort of going on that. So I've had some talk with Mr. Miller about, we actually were talking about something else, but it's related. We were talking about assistance with loaning out school-owned instruments that are normally rented, and we've sort of noticed that we need to sort of set a bar of free and reduced lunch. So I may talk with Principal Setner and Mr. Miller and stuff like that about whether or not we want to apply that to this as just sort of a starting baseline. Because the number of requests that we've gotten has gotten to be quite a bit. Like, we can't handle it informally anymore. But there is a formal application process, and that those applications are reviewed by a panel of parents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, I know it's just a big program, so what percentage is 110 musicians?
So we've been pretty consistently around 150 students total. So, whatever percentage, 100 to 110 would be of that. So I would say it's interesting. I think of it slightly differently. I don't know if I've ever done the whole thing. I would say about, I don't ascribe any meaning to it, but about 3/4 of the band usually goes, about 2/3 of the strings go, and about half of the chorus kids go. That's yeah. It is, and I think part of the reason why those percentages were that high with our California trip was because the Friends made so much available in terms, they'd never done $15,000, but we're lucky to have the fair to start with. We do other fundraising and stuff like that, and so, yeah.
Aside from like spending money or personal money, are there any other costs that the families will incur after?
There's a meal or two, but again, I won't know exactly how many until I sit down in that September meeting and really get down to, okay, which meals do you want to pay for? Guesstimate that we're going to have 110 students and this many, that sort of thing. And we're talking about this much money, that sort of thing. But typically what the Marshfield Friends of Music have done is they'll earmark a certain amount to subsidize everyone on the trip and pay several bills, and then everyone, when they go onto the Bob Rogers website, will just see a lower, this is your balance, right? And then there's still a little bit of money left over that doesn't fit into anything neatly. So then the treasurer shows up with a bunch of little envelopes. And, oh, by the way, kids, you didn't know, because you know how kids are with money, right? Of course you do. Here's $20 for this lunch. Go out and do that. So I anticipate things like that happening. Again, they're fairly inexperienced with it, so they'll be relying on my institutional memory for that sort of thing. But when we went to California, the Grand Classroom was the name. They sort of prided themselves on the fact that everything was in the package. Bob Rogers, like any company, any good company would, has been very explicit in all that. These are included, these aren't. What I'm saying too is that if you look at that really carefully, there's actually going to be a bunch that, from a parent and kid perspective, is in the package because the Friends are going to pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this priced for four students to a room?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just one last question. Other things that have changed in 8 years in New York City are safety concerns. Is the trip and the, how often the kids are supervised or unsupervised, is that shifted or is that taken into account with the itinerary?
Honestly, when we put together the itinerary, we're most concerned about making sure that we don't waste the kids' time. In terms of safety, we can, honestly, what we tend to do is to say, okay, we've got from X o'clock to X o'clock, and then you need to meet us back here. So we'll probably shorten those to make sure that they can't go too far afield, you know what I mean? Again, I don't know how many, to be perfectly honest with you, we ended up going with fewer parents than we anticipated when we went to California. And when I say anticipated, even just a couple of weeks before we went, we had people drop, and okay, we've got to reshuffle the assignments of that sort of thing. With the economics being, will we get fewer adults? I'm not really sure. One thing is that we're budgeted for one nurse. We may see if I can get 2 nurses and then ask her to rejigger the numbers a little bit and then go back to the friends. I know that's not directly your question, but it's sort of related. I do want you to know that it's on my mind. But one thing that you might have noticed is that for the first time, and it's not just because we're staying in Times Square, is that we are letting the travel company contract overnight security detail for us. We've always handled it ourselves, and actually when we went to California, we're like, oh, we don't need to pay for that. And the travel agent was kind of funny. He's like, it's not that much per kid. But for several reasons, we've kind of decided, you know what, we're going to let them do that for us. So that is one upgrade that's already in there. I would say directly in terms of on a day-to-day stuff, when we know that, we won't know the exact itinerary until we know when we're actually going on the festival. Right now, we want it to be Friday morning, but we can't say that until it's actually booked. So once we put together the itinerary, then we can look at it and sort of make a decision. Sometimes it's beforehand, a lot of times it's as we're going along, and then we'll just say, this is a safe amount of time to let the kids sort of do their thing. We take, where we are, what's next, how many adults do we have on hand, who's back at the hotel because they're sick, that sort of stuff, so. Yeah.
Dave, just in terms of the company that you hired, that's for overnight on the floors, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, just making sure the committee.
Right, just like I say.
And I find that's a very safe measure.
Yeah, I mean, we had done it ourselves, but honestly, I'm sort of, I had an experience where I had a parent who was not feeling safe doing that. So, I mean, I took it over for them, but I think we've sort of reached a point now where we're just like, you know what, I'm sure it's not that much per kid. Let's play it safe, literally, and sort of go with that. So I think we're going to have a positive experience with that, yeah.
Keeps your chaperones ready and fresh, too.
Yeah, yeah.
And just lastly, thank you so much. This is a big undertaking, and I think it's a great experience for kids to get out in the world. And, New York is awesome for kids that are interested in music and instruments, so thank you.
Well, you are all very welcome. I have to say, it is our pleasure. It's, kids learn a lot of things at school. And and sometimes they're not always like directly in the curriculum, and so, yeah, we're music teachers, but they also just sort of learn a lot, traveling and whatnot. So the only other thing is that, if you approve the trip, we are asking for that Thursday and the Friday. Oh, by the way, we're asking for that particular Thursday and Friday. We usually adhere to school committee policy and go right before vacation, into vacation. The first weekend of vacation, as I'm sure you're aware from developing your calendar for the year, is Easter weekend. So we've backed it up a week. The last time this happened, we actually we tried it at the end of April, and that was really bad with the sports. So we're trying to make it easier on the kids and their parents. So that's not to say there won't be any conflicts or kids who don't travel with us because they have other, whatever. But there would be sports conflicts the weekend before vacation as well. So so we think that this is the best one, but we are humbly asking that you allow those to be excused absences that Thursday and Friday, the 10th and 11th of April, 2025.
Any other questions, comments? I agree.
The leftover on the rules form?
I'm sorry?
On the rules sheet?
Yes.
It still says California.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I had corrected that, yeah.
It still says California.
Oh, well, we will definitely fix that then. Oh, no, it's, No, well, yeah, because I'll go in front of people when we have, because basically what happens is then I'll hunker down with the friends, and then we'll have a meeting near the end of September, and we'll roll it out and go, this is what's happening. And if I leave that there, like 5 people will sort of do that, so, okay.
I agree with Mr. Greer. I feel comfortable moving forward with this. I know you've got some details to still work out, but obviously we trust you to do that.
Okay,
And we know that you'll do it well, as you always do.
thank you, sir.
So if there's no other questions or comments, we can entertain a motion to approve the MHS Music Department trip to New York City on Thursday, April 10th, 2025 to Saturday, April 12th, 2025. Is such a motion on the floor? So moved from Ms. Stetson. Is there a second? Take that second from Ms. Dargan on that one. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye. Aye. And opposed, abstaining, 5-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Kaminsky.
All right, thank you, everyone.
We'll see you next week. I'm going to take Mr. Russell next, our facilities director. Hey, Mr. Russell, how are you?
Doing fine, thank you. How are you?
Awesome. That's great. Just so you know, the committee does have this for human rights.
Yeah, Joni asked me to do that. That's great.
Awesome. Yeah, no, we appreciate it.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Fred Russell, and I'm the Marshfield's Director of Facilities, and I'm also a resident at 92 Marginal Street. Thank you for the opportunity to come before the school committee again to share with you some of the improvements and projects that facilities have been involved in within the last year. Facilities has 2 full-time employees, Tony Bullock, assistant manager, and me. And we also have 1 part-time employee, Mark Pinot, who's a general facility mechanic. I'm not sure everyone knows this, but I'd like to mention that Tony is a 82nd Airborne Army veteran, and Mark is a retired Air Force veteran. I thank them for their service, and I feel very fortunate to have both of these guys on my team. Their support of me and my agenda is appreciated throughout the year. Facilities oversees maintenance, repairs, and capital improvements of both town buildings as well as school buildings. It's truly a team effort, not just with Tony and Mark, but on the school side with each of the head custodians and their staff. The head custodians handle and lead the day-to-day school maintenance, repair, and building operations, and we are very lucky because they are some of the best. Although their title is head custodian, they act, behave, and oversee and implement work like on-site facility supervisors. They take ownership of all building issues and take pride in their schools. They also embrace and share my 3 core goals for a successful facilities program, which are to provide safe, clean, and comfortable buildings for our students, employees, residents, and visitors. I'm very fortunate and appreciative of having such committed teammates to work with me on a day-to-day basis throughout the year. The following is a representative sample of the work that our facilities and custodial teams have accomplished this past year at each school. This list does not capture all the work done in the schools and does not include any town facilities, improvements, or projects. South River School, we installed a new ADA compliant center entrance ramp. This ramp also addressed a long-standing safety concern with the old top platform being so narrow. When the entrance door was open, people would have to step back, sometimes so far back onto the first step. Now it's got a nice long platform. We worked with Irene, the Director of Food Service, and completely replaced both the walk-in cooler and freezer with brand-new units. We replaced the obsolete main power sub-panel circuit breakers serving the kitchen area. We installed a quiet and calm-down room for our special needs students. Governor Winslow School, we worked with Irene again, and we completely rehabilitated both walk-in cooler and freezer containers and installed all new mechanical refrigeration units. We caulked a bunch of leaky windows as well. We replaced a faulty domestic hot water tempering valve. Martin's Elementary School, replaced all leaking and rerouted the grease track piping located in the crawl space below the kitchen. Replaced all the main steam line traps. We inspected all the rooftop exhaust fans. We installed an OSHA compliant floor hatch and ladder in the kitchen storage room. We inspected the crawl space ventilation. We repaired numerous roof leaks. We just recently wrapped the cracked skylights and the field motor joints in the chimney. We replaced the main domestic hot water mixing valve. We just conducted a roof inspection this past Friday with MSBA engineers on part of our grant application for a new roof. Jeff Granatino Early Education Center, we installed a safety fence in the new playground area. We installed a back gate fence to keep the children away from Furnace Street. We continue to maintain the new denitrification septic system to comply with water resource protection requirements in that area. We tested the drinking water for lead, and all results came back good. Daniel Webster School, we replaced the field piping and safety valves in the boilers. We rebuilt the boiler flue stacks. We repaired a large roof leak. We installed a dehumidification system in the gym to prevent the new gym floor from warping. Furnace Brook Middle School, We completed the construction of a new health classroom space in a small section of the existing library. We validated that the gym wall crack is not a structural issue. We assisted in the domestic hot water tank failure and cleanup with the MIA insurance claim. Ames Way School, we installed new ceiling tiles, lighting above the stage area, the nurses area, and the high bay, and the cafeteria. This building, Ventress Building, we installed a new whole house emergency standby electric generator. We placed field door hinges on the main entrance with a continuous piano hinge. The high school, we placed the main shaft and fan section on the rooftop air handling unit number 1. We placed a field main sewer lift pump. We winter and summer prepped the rooftop chiller with glycol. We placed the rooftop unit air handler number 2 outside air dampers. We inspected and repaired all bleachers as needed in the complex. Miscellaneous stuff, we created the EPA 3-year HERA asbestos inspection at all schools, coordinated and held training for mold awareness and response with the head custodians as we start to open up the school. We also have numerous on-call contracts that allow us to provide timely repairs and maintenance to any building systems. These on-call contracts provide licensed and experienced tradespeople to repair and maintain building systems. They bring what I call skill to craft because they share their years of knowledge and experience to help us develop the best repair and maintenance strategies to address some of the unique problems and issues we encounter from time to time. Current list of on-call contracts. The on-call mechanical contractor is now Industrial Burner Systems. Electrical is High Voltage. Roofs is Aqua Barriers. We also have a new architect and engineers on-call contract, Fisher Associates. Plumbing is Coastline. Flooring is Streamline, but that's currently out to bid. Bids are due September 12th. Pest control is Secured Environments. Earth moving is Biagini. On-call fence is B&B Fence. Thank you for your time. I don't know if anyone has any questions or...
Any questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr.
Questions. I don't really know how to ask it. How often are the toilet seats evaluated in the girls' bathrooms?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
The last couple times I was in Furnace Brook, the toilet seats in the girls' bathrooms were looking a little ragged. I just didn't know if that's like part of the regular inspection or...
During the summer break or during the school season?
It was last spring, yeah.
Yeah, they're policed daily. They should be policed daily. If there's an issue, talking about the condition of the restroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should report it to the central office and let them deal with it. I mean, I'll talk to Mike's over there. He's a great...
We're just starting to put together a proposal for town meeting bathroom renovations. Because Furnace Brook is a lot better than some of our elementary schools. Yeah, so, you know, a lot of our bathrooms, you know, this originally came up at Governor Winslow, and then if you take a look at South River, Ames Way, the bathrooms are from 1950, 1960, so.
There's a clear theme going across.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I couldn't hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, but actually, it's part of the program that Tom wants to implement.
okay.
It's at all elementary schools in Furnace Brook as well.
Thank you.
Modernization. Yep.
Right there.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
The other thing, just update on Martinson Roof, because I didn't put it in my update, but we did have a virtual meeting with the MSBA. They had 70, I think it was 73 proposals for accelerated repair, the Martinson Roof being one of them. They are conducting site visits and interviews with 71 of the 73. So we did a virtual meeting. Fred and Joe Paris, head custodian over there, they did the walkthrough with their representatives, and now we're in a waiting process to see if we'll be invited to the MSBA process. It could be the same, if it's the same scheduled deadline of timeline as Furnace Brook, we could have an article at December town meeting, and then looking for full funding at April town meeting. So, just
Any other questions, comments? Well, I just want to say thank you. This is obviously a lot of work that your team goes through. You do an awesome team. You guys do a great job. We appreciate everything. Appreciate the continued partnership. I know these guys definitely do. So this is very comprehensive as well. I encourage everybody to keep this. If we do get questions on it, this is what we'll be able to say. We'll maybe save an email to you so we don't have to keep bothering you. But we appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
One thing I'll say, coming from another district back here, I would just really appreciate the collaboration between our facilities. It's really high level, and you can see the respect they have for each other. It pays off. As ready as they are. Wow. These are factors. So it needs to be a town.
Thank you. Okay, we have 2 agenda items left that I'm going to take us through relatively quickly. The school committee, subcommittees, and liaisons, I think we can go rather quickly with this. I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to say about it, but every year, obviously, we go through right before the school year starts, and we discuss these. We kind of make some different assignments. If you have anything that you'd like to change about your assignments, I encourage you to just send me an email. Let me know, because at the next meeting, I'd like to present you with a finalized version of the list. I don't plan on changing too much, but for example, if you have a school council that you don't have the ability to fit into your schedule in a formal period of time, they have a meeting, that's something that please let you know. If you have a subcommittee that you have questions on, that you'd like to speak with myself or with Dr. Sullivan or any of these other administrators here who oversee those subcommittees, that would be a good thing to do as well. So
as we go to be formal, it's good for me to know who's on.
Right.
So I appreciate your fact.
Yep, exactly. But we're about to change that. So that leads into the representatives to local collaboratives. Thank you very much, Mr. Greer. So we have, every year, as you all know, we have to assign a representative to the Pilgrim Area Collaborative and a representative to the Southern Shore Educational Collaborative. I will say that for the last 9 years, our representative to the Pilgrim Area Collaborative has been Ms. Stetson. Are you the chair of it right now? You are. Okay, so I would say that we have Kendra continue to do that. And I know the South Shore Educational Collaborative, folks will remember in the past, it's been Mr. Granatino. I know that you did that as well. As I heard you, the vice president of the collaborative. So I would suggest that we continue having our superintendent representatives on that, so we can continue his work there and represent Marshfield this time. So those would take 2 separate motions, but I would like to open it to discussion if anybody has anything to say. Okay, is there a motion to approve Ms. Stetson as our representative to the Pilgrim Area? So moved, start. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Greer. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, that's 5-0. Mrs. Mazursky. And then, is there a motion to approve Dr. Sullivan as our representative to the South Shore Education? So moved, Ms. Stetson. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Brady. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, that's 5-0 as well. Mrs. Mazursky. We have a couple sets of meeting minutes. We have minutes from the 27th of June, the regular meeting minutes. Yes, Mr. Greer, we have full attendance at this meeting, so everybody is eligible to vote on this meeting minutes. You folks got a chance to review them one more time, but I entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes. So moved, Mr. Greer, is there a second? Second, Ms. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, that's 5-0. There, Mrs. Mazursky. And then we have the executive session meeting minutes from that same date, the 27th of June. This would be to approve, a motion to approve and release, and would require a roll call. Relatively straightforward meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve and release meeting minutes from the executive session of June 27th? So moved, Ms. Stetson. Is there a second? Second, Mrs. Dargan. That's a roll. Mrs. Mazursky.
Mrs. Dargan?
Yes.
Ms. Stetson?
Yes.
Mr. Greer? Mrs. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes, that's a 5-0. Thank you very much, folks. We have no further business before the committee at this time. Dr. Sullivan.
I just wanted to, I was remiss about that. Jones and George. These are not only just getting used to me, but just great work. So, very blessed.
I'm sure you've heard.
Thank
from
you.
all 5 of us. I know you've definitely heard it, but we just want to.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yes.
Just wanted to say thank you. I missed that.
I appreciate
Thank you.
that. It's a great addition. With that being said, is there a motion to adjourn? So, Ms. Stetson, is there a second? A second from Mrs. Brake. That's a new roll call.
Mrs. Dargan, Ms. Stetson, Mr. Greer, Mrs. Brake, Mr. Costello.
Yes, thank you very much, folks.
I do.